Michael Vasquez reporting from the 2019 Oceanside International Film Festival. I have David Purdell with the sports documentary film, The City's Champions. David, tell me a little bit about your project and how you decided on it.
It all came kind of accidental because during the school year 2016-2017 at San Diego City College, I was a student on the student newscast. And like my career goal is to work in sports, like the sports department of a news station. And so I just followed the basketball team and the other sports teams during the school year. And so I followed the basketball team specifically because I like basketball. And I, went to their games, filmed their games, took photos at their games. And lo and behold, they're winning games, breaking records during that year. And then it was like, all right, well, keep on going, see where it ends, And it just so happened to be the year where they won. The Knights team, the San Diego City College Knights, won the state title here in California, the first state title for San Diego in 66 years, the first junior college title. And so it was history in the making. And through that season, I was just like, because I make, a minute 30 news packages, sports packages, highlights, quick interviews. I didn't get to use all the footage, so I had a lot of it still on my hard drive that following after graduation. And it's like, well, I kind of saw and went through it. And I was like, well, I have something here. And I thought it would be like a 10-minute documentary, but the more I interviewed players after the fact, after the season, it grew and grew and grew to a feature film. So I was like, all right, I just wanted to tell the story from beginning to end. So I felt like it would be a good way to honor the team and to capture the incredible year that they had on the court. It's like, it was crazy. It was a crazy year. So, I feel so lucky to be able to have hit the record button during their games. So it was just, something that had to be done because it was waiting on my computer,
It was waiting for you to create it, to finish it, to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be a sportscaster, and you just created that pathway for yourself.
Yeah. So going into college, I want to be in news, create local stories, tell stories of the community, and be in this, sports department and work in the, local state news station because I like that. And it was kind of crazy because my professor was saying to me, like, reporters are technically like frustrated documentarians, They don't have enough time to tell their story in a minute 30 or 2 minutes, depending on how much the producer gives them, because it's news. You don't have that much time. So I guess it kind of fell naturally to me. The more I thought about it, I was like, well, in the making of it, I was like, I kind of like making documentaries now because it's like, it's true. Like I like storytelling and telling real stories. So now I know that like 2 minutes max isn't enough time for me, even though I like it. But now that I made a documentary film, now it's like, well, maybe this is something I can do.
It's not maybe something you can do. It's definitely something you can do. And I think you fall under the restriction of a short amount of time, but you can actually tell a pretty good story in a short amount of time. You're obviously very creative, so you've taken it to the next level, I think.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. And yeah, creatively, I just was in the zone. I was inspired by the guys that I saw on my camera, like when I did the interviews, like trading spots with you. This is now, players here.
You're usually on this side of the camera.
So going back and watching their interviews and cutting it up, I was inspired by their words, inspired what I captured, not really knowing what I captured, it's just looking back on it, it motivated me to, push myself because they were pushing themselves on the court, and I couldn't let them down. I told them when I interviewed them, like, I want to interview you for maybe like a, small little documentary. And then once I did it all with the guys, I was like, well, I can't quit now. I'd better tell the story. And I also couldn't let myself down because following the, in the documentary, after they made the history record-breaking year, a player on the team, took his own life, and that was really hard on everybody, on the community. And so I made it a goal of mine to honor his memory, Nate Edwards, number 24. And so that's the number one reason why I made the film, was to honor his memory, because during the season he was always hyped about my photos and videos. And so I was like, if he was here following graduation, he wasn't there, and it was just so sad. And I thought about it like, all right, if he was here, he's still going to want me to, maybe do something with what they did on the court in the historic run. He would be the first one. He was always hyped about everything that I did on that year, so I knew it was something that he would be proud of and most likely would want to see, because he loved every guy on the team. He was always that's all he could talk about during the school year was basketball games. Every time I went to the basketball game, he was like, "How you doing? You here for our games?" And actually, this is the shirt that he gave me before one of the games. I went with my camera equipment, getting ready to film, and he's getting ready for a basketball game, and he just goes off and tries to find me a T-shirt because I don't have a T-shirt, and he's like, "Oh, you got to get you a T-shirt." And so, it's just the little things like that throughout the year that made me believe in myself and what I could do with behind the camera. Not necessarily I didn't know I was going to make a film, but he just pushed me, each and every day, every time I saw him, to be better, keep thinking.
I'm so glad that he inspired you, and that's a very touching story that you're telling.
Yeah, and it was just something that I, it was emotional making it, and capturing it all, not knowing, wishing that it didn't have to end like it did, wishing that it had just stopped after they won the state title, and wishing that he was still here, but it's one of those things that I wanted to do because I just wanted to honor his memory, and one of those things that I was committed on doing going into my transferring from San Diego City College to SDSU, because he pushed me to be going to San Diego State. During my final year at San Diego City College, I was pretty much done with school, thinking I don't really know what to do after school, maybe not even go to SDSU, but because he believed in me and instilled that belief, always bringing the sunshine and rainbows to every day I saw him. I was at SDSU, and I figured I just got to do this and narrate this and tell the story from my point of view in a way, and tell the story of the guys, because it's an incredible story of how they won it all and how they came together to be brothers, and sadly after not having them here, it was just something that too.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's very nice. Is there a way for us to maybe people can touch base with you on Facebook, or you have a website to see the film?
Yeah. So you could go to my website, davidpurdell.com, or you could go on Instagram, David Purdell Photos. I take photos often everywhere pretty much, and you could contact me online, or you go to my website, then you could find ways to contact me through Facebook or Twitter. But once you go online, you'll see about the documentary that not only was it to honor his memory, but it was also to do something for him, kind of pay it forward back to Nate Edwards, because he was always helping everybody throughout the year, that school year. And so a part of me felt like if I were to make this film, I could maybe do something to help his family out, because not that many people know that he left 2 sons and a girlfriend here in San Diego following his death. And because he was always looking out for everybody, the guys, me, I'm not even part of the basketball team, and he was always trying to take care of me. And I figured that with my film, I could help his family out. So I did set up a GoFundMe page on my website, or you could get connected through me on my website, and the links are there, or, message me, and to raise money for a college fund for his 2 boys, because they're 3 and 5. But it's just so sad, and it just struck a chord with me because they don't have him anymore, and he was just such an incredible guy. I've only knew him for a few months or that school year, and he touched my life. So I figured with this film I could pay it forward back to him and say thank you, not only by making this film, but hopefully raising some money for his boys, and hopefully get them to college, and because he was on his way to sign his letter of intent to play at Western Colorado State University, but
wow,
sadly that didn't happen. So it's just overall one of those things that you can't expect, or I couldn't really imagine me doing if you were to tell me that during the school year. It was just overwhelming.
It just kind of all came together perfectly, and I think you really are part of the team. You're definitely an important part of the team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what the guys say. That's what the coaches say. But, it feels good to be a part of a team. And, Nate was one of those guys who always would welcome me, be not part of the team, but part of the family. Because, at San Diego City College, it's a nice program. It's just so family-oriented, with the head coach down to the athletic trainers. Everybody, you walk into the gym, it was just like, hey, what are you doing here? What are you going to do next? And it's just a good place to be at, and it was a good place to be during my school year, to find myself, discover myself as a student, figure out where I'll go next, and find myself here now, at the Oceanside Film Festival.
And it's a very touching story, and it's so nice for you to come out and support this film, and we're just so happy to have you here.
Well, yeah, thank you for having me. It was an honor to be selected and to have it screened here, and at the Oceanside International Film Festival, which is just a couple miles away from downtown San Diego. So definitely a local story that a lot of people could get around, and the sports community and beyond could be touched by the guys who came at San Diego City College, because they don't get paid the big bucks to play basketball. They're there, and they did it all because they loved the game, and they all loved each other, and they found that during that season. That's what made history for San Diego, and it was incredible to watch it. And I know every San Diegan and local here would be able to appreciate that, these guys going above and beyond, and you could get something out of that, seeing these guys so passionate on the court, whether you're in the sports field or outside the sports field, their commitment and their high, just the love that they had for each other as a team and as a family, elevating themselves to win that, come back from games and overcome adversity on the court. And something that there's a piece of something that anybody or everybody could walk away with after watching it, I think. So it was an honor to have.
Well, I'm really glad that they inspired you to create beautiful art. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out to support your film. We really appreciate it. Michael Vasquez reporting from the 2019 Oceanside International Film Festival.